Welcome to the OrganizedPreneur podcast, the ultimate podcast for female entrepreneurs looking to supercharge their business. I'm Eldrima Harper, host of the OrganizedPreneur podcast. I'm also a business organizing strategist and coach, where I specialize in helping solopreneurs, freelance professionals, and service-based providers. This is to ignite, build, and transform your business dreams into reality. If you're feeling overwhelmed, struggling to manage clients and tasks, and worried about things slipping through the cracks, you're in the right place. With my signature framework, not only are you able to get your time back and get on track, but also turn your passion and hard work into a sustainable and profitable venture. So I want to welcome you to launch your online business. And we're going to be talking about the top mistakes that new entrepreneurs will make when starting a business. There are some crucial mistakes. I made them when I first launched my business. And so my goal is to help you to avoid some of the pitfalls that I made when I first launched my business. And I'll share a little bit about, I'll be sharing, stories and things like that, examples as we go along. So welcome to launch your online business. So by way of introduction, my name is Eldrima Harper. I'm a certified organizational specialist. I'm also a business organizing strategist and coach, as well as a podcastpreneur. I like to call myself a podcastpreneur because I consider my podcast a part of my business. And so my podcast is located at OrganizedPreneur.podcast.com. And so a few things that I'm going to be sharing with you today is how to launch your business. And I'm super excited about this. One of the reasons that I'm really excited about this is because I had not taught on this in quite some time. As a matter of fact, just to kind of share my story a little bit here, I pretty much dedicated myself to assisting others to declutter and get organized in their lives, get organized in their business. But it wasn't until I had an epiphany. I had an epiphany earlier this year, and I was doing decluttering challenges, like 5-day decluttering challenges. And earlier this year, what I realized was that I had created a framework that empowers solopreneurs to turn their dreams into a thriving business. And I'll share a little bit more about that in just a moment. But when I realized that, I decided to make a pivot in terms of the type of classes that I was going to be teaching. And what happened was, in that realization really hit home for me, because what I was witnessing when people were going through my decluttering challenge was that they were actually launching businesses. And I did not realize the connection of it, right? They were launching their businesses after undergoing my training. And so that spoke volumes to me. I mean, really spoke volumes to me. And so I was inspired by their achievements, right? And I knew it was time to just kind of make a pivot. And so now that's what I am doing. I'm making this pivot to teach people how to launch their own business, whether it's a new launch or a relaunch or what have you. So having said that, that is a part of what I do. So I help female entrepreneurs to turn their dreams into a thriving business. And that includes a framework, a proven framework that creates infrastructure for unstoppable, sustainable success in their business. And so, thank you, Angelique. I'm going to, let's see, you said, hang on here, you would love to start launching immediately, but you're having a hard time making a decision on what type of business to launch. Okay, and following through. I'm so glad you said that. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Thank you so much for responding to that. And because that is sometimes a huge problem when you don't know what type of business to launch. And and here's the thing. I've launched several businesses. I had a bookkeeping service. I had uh, well, let me even back up. My very first business was actually when I was in junior high school, and that was quite some time ago. But in junior high school, where I grew up in the neighborhood, I used to make snacks like popcorn balls and things like that, and snacks for the kids in the neighborhood. And before school would start, I would put a little sign in the window right before, because I was near a bus stop, put a sign in the window. They could get their snacks after school. They would get their snacks because the way it was set up where I grew up, it was right near a bus stop, so they had to pass through to to get home. So that was my very first business. But I've always known that there was something about business that I loved. Now I've worked in corporate America as well, so but I said all that to say that I understand that sometimes it is very difficult to, decide on what type of business to start. And so, yeah, I can definitely identify with what you're talking about. So thank you for sharing that. I love it, love it, love it. So, um, let's kind of move into what we're going to talk about today, because I want to, just make sure that if you're on here, even those who come after, a little bit later, if you're on here, you should know that this is for you if you want to start a business, if you want to restart a business, or if you want to create a side business or freelancing type of business, just to kind of support. Perhaps you're still in corporate America and you're looking to start your side business. So this is for you. It's also for you if you're looking to start a service based business like coaching and consulting. And hopefully, we're going to, as we move forward in the training, we'll talk a little bit more, maybe about, a few examples. As we have the Q&A, we'll talk a little bit more about what that could possibly look like for you. Okay. So this is for you if you're looking to start any type of business. Maybe it's a VA service, a virtual assistant type of service, or maybe it is a bookkeeping service or a tax type of service. Those are the different types of service-based businesses that, particularly VA businesses. I used to have a VA business as well, and so. Uh, like I said, a lot of things that, a lot of different um, things that I've done over the years in order to get to this point. So sometimes you may not know right off the bat, and it comes a little bit later. So what we're going to cover, we're going to talk about the entrepreneur mindset. Then we're going to talk about how the four startup mistakes that most entrepreneurs make when they're trying to start a business. We'll also talk about ongoing support, and we'll have time for some Q&A. So hopefully you can hang around, and we'll be able to talk about that. Talk, answer some questions as well, right? So, so I believe that you know the entrepreneurial mindset is crucial, right? I remember when I started my business. So, just to give you a little bit of background, I started 20 years ago. I started a professional organizing business, And I remember thinking to myself, this is really, really hard. I remember talking to a coach who was a friend of mine, and I was like, this is really hard, and she's like, what's so hard about it? Right. And the thing was, I really didn't have the right mindset because I started out thinking that it was hard. And that's part of the mindset that stops us from moving forward, right? That stops us from doing the things that's going to help us to make the type of money that's going to help us to make the right decisions. It all starts with mindset. It doesn't start with your business acumen. It doesn't start with your industry knowledge. It doesn't even start with strategic planning. It starts with your mindset. Now, these things are important, right? But it starts with your mindset. And so, mindset in entrepreneurship can never be overstated. Never, ever be overstated. You see a lot of people out there that talks about mindset and the things that, it really takes in order to be a successful entrepreneur. And it's something that you got to work on daily. But what happens is a lot of times you see people out there being successful and saying that they're successful, and yet they may not be telling all of the things, right, that goes along with having a successful business, and that is mindset. And so, because in this entrepreneurial space, it's a roller coaster. Let me just tell you, there's going to be ups and downs, and it takes resilience to be an entrepreneur, and a lot of people don't talk about that, right? You really gotta bounce back. That's what resilience is all about. And so, but a lot of people don't talk about, some of those things. They show you, the afterglow, if you will. They show you the successes, right? So it takes resilience. It also takes innovation, being able to think creatively, changing circumstances, innovative solutions to problems. And you have to have the right mindset to stay innovative, to stay creative. And with the market, up and down, the things that change in society, right? You got to keep up with some of those things. Okay. Uh, Entrepreneurship is about risk taking, right? Inherently built in entrepreneurship are risks. And so you got to be able to move forward knowing that there's going to be risks associated with entrepreneurship. Adaptability. Adaptability is another thing. This is all mindset, right? Markets evolve, technologies change, customer preferences shift. If you even just look at what happened a few years ago, with COVID-19, there are things that changed in the marketplace and how people were having to make shifts. Customers were making shifts in their buying preferences. And so a lot of people, did not really survive and were not able to adapt because they had one way of serving their customers, but their customer preferences shift, right? They wanted more of deliveries and doing things online. And so the market had to shift, right? Uh, Persistence. That's another mindset that you have to have. You have to understand that it's going to take persistence. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and it's going to take determination in order to um, maintain the right type of mindset when it comes to entrepreneurship. Self belief is another thing, right? Believe in yourself. Believe in what God has given you as a gift. Believe in the vision that He's given you. This is all fundamental, right? And so when you are seeking these endeavors, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, understand that if you don't believe in your vision, that the vision that God has given you, right, nobody else is going to believe it, right? Just like I was just sharing at the beginning when we first started, right? I shifted because I saw people getting certain types of results as they were going through my training, which I was looking at it one way, but they were looking at it another way, right? And so I know that this works because I'm basing it on the results that they were getting. And so here's the thing. This is a very famous quote by Henry Ford. It says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Right? So it all starts with mindset. And so I mentioned that I started my business back in my organizing business back in 2003. I served a lot of different types of clients. And, just as I said a few minutes ago, I shifted with the marketplace because even though I started out as a professional organizer, I served a lot of different types of clients. I served pastors, I served attorneys, I served doctors, I served entrepreneurs, I served realtors in all different types of careers, right? And I knew when I started that there was something about this type of business that was going to I believed in it. I believed in the gift that God had given to me. I believed in the gift of organization, that it was going to pave the way for me to serve others in that capacity, right? And so, but again, I have had to make some shifts, right? And so that was 20 years ago. I would go out to their offices, to their homes. I was organizing closets. I was organizing cars. I was organizing offices. I was organizing garages. And so as time went on, I decided to make some shifts in my business. And so, over the past few years, I've started coaching and consulting and providing services. And so that's how I'm showing up in the marketplace now with doing these types of business. I'm still in the same business. I'm still in the same genre, rather, right? But it just looks a little bit differently. And so what that looks like now is I'm helping entrepreneurs to establish infrastructure in the business and launch their businesses. So I'm showing you how to add the right foundation in terms of your business. And then I show you after that how to launch your business, right? Start by listening and subscribing to the podcast. Simply go to OrganizedPreneur.podcast.com. And also check out the freebies available, including a free training at theorganizedpreneur.com. So you ready? Let's go.